Mbappe set to stay at PSG after title loss. Drama in the top four in Italy and England. Zidane set for Real talks, a transfer roundup, and today's Emoji Mondays all coming up in the next few minutes. As I'm your host, Matt Froelich, you are the OneFootballers, and this is the Daily News. So first up, my God, what a weekend of action. Of course it is, because it was the end of the footballing season. Don't be too sad though. We've got the Champions League final coming up, the Europa League final coming up, and of course, the European Championships and the Copa America this summer. But as one of the most exciting title races in recent history in Liga, Lille were the winners. After a 2-1 victory, it meant that they beat PSG to the title by 1 point. And you'd probably think Mbappe's a little pissed off. He's got 1 year left on his contract. He's going to leave the club. Well, it doesn't look likely. According to the president of PSG, he said that Mbappe wants to stay. He's Parisian. He loves the club. He loves the city, and he's 100% staying. This is a pretty big statement. Like, I guess on one hand, you can kind of see why that a club would find it difficult to pay for Kylian Mbappe, even with the year left on his deal. But on the other hand, this would be a very, very foolish move if Kylian Mbappe is convinced to stay for 1 more year, but doesn't actually sign a new contract, because then losing him on a free next summer is absolutely insane. But aside from this, talking about Lille and their ridiculous title victory, Burak Yilmaz deserves so much credit. He typifies the complete underdog story that is Lille winning the Liga title in the 2021 season. With 16 goals and 5 assists, the 35-year-old Turkish forward will be hoping to continue this ridiculous form into the summer as he prepares to head to the Euros with Turkey. Some good news for Kylian Mbappe, though, is that he did finish top goal scorer in the whole competition. But talking of close title races, Atletico Madrid also took home the La Liga title after a 2-1 victory against Valladolid. It meant that Real Madrid's 2-1 victory over Villarreal meant absolutely nothing, and they finished runners-up to their cross-city rivals. And of course, everybody saw the celebrations at the end for Atletico, including Luis Suarez, who was so thankful that the club gave him a chance. In his interview after the game, he said that Barcelona clearly didn't value him very much, and that Atletico gave him a chance, and he will be staying for another year at the club. That, along with defender Jimenez, who also has committed his future to Diego Simeone's side. After such a long season, after being so far ahead around Christmas, and then kind of letting it slip, and it going down to the final day, Atletico Madrid finally did it, and it is their second title in the last 7 seasons. On top of this, though, of course, there was the Petit Trophy to be handed out for the top goal scorer in La Liga, and it yet again went to Lionel Messi for the 8th time. 8 times he's been the top goal scorer in La Liga. Absolutely nuts. I think this is the 5th in a row. Now, actually, if I'm not mistaken, 5 in a row. But talking of goal-scoring feats of the weekend as well, in the Bundesliga, Robert Lewandowski broke Gerd Muller's long-standing record of most goals in a single Bundesliga season with his 41st strike of the campaign. In fact, the goal came in the last minute against Augsburg on the last match day of the season, and it was just absolutely brilliant to see him break that record. And talking of Bundesliga goal scorers, Erling Haaland scored 40 goals this season in all competitions, and he's only 20 years old. He is going to put up some ridiculous numbers for the next decade at least. Moving on from the amazing title scenes over the weekend to some top 4 action in both Serie A and in England. Starting in Serie A, though, where Cristiano Ronaldo and Juventus will be playing in the Champions League next season, much to the annoyance, it seems, of most of the internet. It looks like everyone was willing to see him fall, but no. Juve have made it thanks to a last day victory and due to the fact that Napoli could only manage to draw at home. AC Milan's brilliant victory away at Atalanta ensures that they'll be in the Champions League next season. But what does this mean actually for Cristiano Ronaldo's future and for Andrea Pirlo's future as well? We'll talk a little bit about Pirlo in the next few minutes, but as for Ronaldo, the whole point of him supposedly leaving the club is because he wanted to play in the Champions League. He's getting on a bit, he's 36 at the moment, and doesn't want to spend or waste any of his last few years in professional football in any other competition but the Champions League. He is Mr. Champions League himself. So the fact that Juve are in it means that maybe he could be tempted to stay. Over the weekend, there were rumours that he was interested in a return to Manchester United, who are also in the Champions League after finishing second in the Premier League. And that one, I'm not so sure I could see happening. If United do have a crazy amount of money to spend, especially on wages, they'd probably put it towards someone like Sancho or Harry Kane or another defender. The reasons that he could also not stay, despite the fact that Juve are in the Champions League, is that maybe he doesn't think the squad is good enough to actually compete and make it to the Champions League final. In his 3 seasons at Juve, well, they haven't really got close to the final, so maybe he's kind of lost a little bit of trust in the squad. Anyway, talking of top 4, and of course, the top 4 race in England went down to the wire, and Leicester lost out again. the second year in a row that Brendan Rodgers' team has come so close, and it's kind of ironic that on the day they were celebrating their FA Cup victory with their fans in their home stadium, they went and lost 4-2 to Spurs. Spurs have been absolutely abysmal this season and somehow managed to finish 7th. That makes Harry Kane's goal-scoring feat of being the Golden Boot winner ahead of Mo Salah and the playmaker winner for the most assists in the league even more astonishing, because he played in a defensive, low-block Jose Mourinho team that were actually pretty poor and only finished 7th. Astonishing feat from an individual player who could potentially have played his last game in a Tottenham Hotspur shirt. So, that victory, coupled with the fact that Liverpool won, meant they finished 3rd, and Chelsea, despite their loss to Aston Villa, finished in the top 4. It means that they don't need to win the Champions League to be in it next season, but I'm sure they're going to go into the game wanting to win the Champions League final next weekend against Manchester City. And talking of players who may have played their last game for the club and the Champions League, Sergio Aguero made the dream ending to his Manchester City career. After a ridiculous amount of goals, a ridiculous amount of titles, after so many years, he came off the bench and bagged 2 goals just like he did on his debut against Swansea all those years ago, and made sure that he overtook Wayne Rooney to become the highest Premier League goal scorer for one club, with 184 goals for Manchester City. There was also a very emotional goodbye to Gini Wijnaldum at Liverpool, as it looks like he will be leaving the club, but more on his future just a little bit later too. And on top of all of this, West Ham finished 6th, an unbelievable season from them despite the fact they missed out on Champions League football, but still a marvellous campaign nonetheless. And because it's the end of the Premier League season, myself and Angelina will be reacting to all of our Premier League predictions, so make sure you keep an eye out for that later on today. So next up, and talking about futures of a couple of managers, Zinedine Zidane has said that he will be talking to the club in the next few days. Of course, over the last few weeks there have been lots of reports coming out of Spain that Zinedine Zidane is leaving, that he told the club he was leaving and his players. That turned out not to be true, but after losing out to Atletico Madrid on the weekend in the Liga title race, well, firstly he said he's pretty pissed off, as you can imagine, but also he said that he'll be speaking to the club in the next few days, so he's not sure where his future lies. For some reason, I can't help but think this is intrinsically linked to Pirlo's status at Juventus. If Juve decide that Pirlo isn't the man to take them forward, despite the fact he took them to the Coppa Italia and into the top 4, then maybe that could be the next position for Zinedine Zidane. If Pirlo goes, Zidane will know he has a job at Juventus, so he could kind of leave Real Madrid. On the other hand, if he doesn't have a job waiting for him at Juve and he does leave Real, where's he going to go? It all depends whether or not he actually has a job in mind, or whether he just wants to be rid of Real Madrid for the final time. Anyway, since returning, he has picked up a La Liga title last season, of course, and this season meant, without the La Liga title, that Real Madrid have gone trophyless for the first time in a very, very long time, and that, for a club of their standing, just is not good enough. Oh, and on top of this, the favourite is to be Max Allegri, who's also got a very, very good CV, so Real Madrid, I'm sure, will be in safe hands. But moving on from that and to a quick hand up at the rest of the news and transfer news that you might have missed from surrounding the last day of the season. So Leeds United have agreed a new 1-year extension with Marcelo Bielsa. On top of this, and talking of Gini Wijnaldum's future earlier, PSG are the latest club to be linked with him after Barcelona still have not made a contract offer. Barca are, however, interested in Atalanta fullback Robin Gosens, who's also been linked with the likes of Manchester City, Inter, Juve and AC. And England have told Brighton defender Ben White to be on standby because he might be called up to the Euro 2020 squad. That is because of concerns over the fitness of Harry Maguire and the form of Eric Dyer. Next up, your Friday Feels. This is where you guys left a few of your predictions in Friday's Daily News, and Bojan Bogasic guessed that Lille and Atletico would hold on to win their titles. Srinivas Sriram guessed that Lewandowski will break Gerd Muller's record, and Andrew Davis guessed that Sergio Aguero would score his final goal in the Etihad, and of course he bagged 2 of them. Lastly then, we move on to Emoji Mondays, where we at OneFootball throw a couple of emojis down over some of the weekend's hottest action. And yes, there are some familiar names from the rest of the Daily News in this Emoji Mondays, because what a weekend it's been for all the headline makers. First off, the best player, I'm giving it to Aguero. What a career. I know it's from the weekend, but what a career at City, with 2 goals at the weekend as well, finishing off his legacy with a brilliant trophy, a brilliant few goals. It just was all so fitting, and the best player of the weekend definitely goes to him. As for the crazy moment of the weekend, it's Lewandowski breaking the goal-scoring record. It's not so crazy that he broke it just over this weekend, but the fact there was a bit of drama, it was the last minute of the last game of the season, and the fact that he's managed to break that record, it's just insane. 41 goals, and by the way, not playing in every single Bundesliga game. I think he missed 5 of them, which means 41 goals in 29 matches. It's just been a ridiculous season and a rather crazy moment to finish it all off. And lastly but not least, the best results of the weekend, of course, go to Atletico and Lille's 2-1 victories, which saw them take home the title. That's all from me then. Make sure you let me know your thoughts down below. Check out everything else we've got going on, and until next time, I will see you guys later.